Jordan Peterson is a controversial figure, but perhaps the most offensive thing that he has ever said is something most people aren't talking about. And you know what that is? It's chapter 1. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Now I know what you're thinking. Bloody hell, we have to be precise. But the reason why this quote from our boy Jordan Peterson was so offensive is because when you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you're doing two negative things for your standing posture. When you hold any one posture, you're limiting the normal sway that should happen when you stand. We move not like statues, but more like skyscrapers. If you were to build a skyscraper, you would have a little bit of movement that happens in that building. The reason why is because that movement allows it to withstand external forces. Windy days, storms, etc. When you limit that movement in a skyscraper, it increases load in focal areas of the skyscraper and could compromise the building. We want to think about the way we stand similarly. We don't want to hold postures. What that does is that increases muscle activity and it limits the amount of movement freedom that you have. That's going to negatively impact local circulation, and that could cause problems. So does that mean that we should just slouch, stick our head forward, and be okay with this? No. The key when it comes to standing is to not hold a specific posture, but to assume a wide variety of postures. That's going to allow us to have that normal sway, so that way we don't load any area for too long. That's when things can become uncomfortable and painful. The best standing posture really is one that is constantly changing. So shift your weight to your left foot, shift your weight to your right, stand in a staggered stance, stand with a wide stance. Variety is going to be key. The second reason why this cue is terrible is because when you stand up straight with your shoulders back, you limit your breathing. Normally, when I am breathing, the rib cage should expand and get bigger in all directions. That means the front of the chest should move, the sides of the ribs should move, and the upper back should expand backwards. Well, guess what happens when you pull your shoulders back? When you pull your shoulders back, muscles on the back side of your body increase in activity. Guess what this does to the back of the rib cage? It limits the normal rib cage expansion that should occur. Likely when this happens, you have to use more superficial muscles, so neck muscles and chest muscles, to pull air in to the lungs. And that doesn't mean that slouching is desirable either, because when you slouch, you limit the amount of air that goes into the front of the rib cage. And there's also some research showing that increased thoracic kyphosis, which is the slouched posture, limits lung volumes in the geriatric population. Holding any one posture is likely going to limit the expansion that should happen in the rib cage. Now, if you're someone who's fell victim to these postural cues that maybe your mom told you, or Jordan Peterson told you, or maybe you're that person who's played World of Warcraft for 36 hours and has had 3 Mountain Dews, you might need to do some things to improve your dynamics of the rib cage so you have more options with standing. Here's 3 moves that you can do to improve your rib cage mobility so you have as many standing options as possible. For lateral expansion, I like this foam roller abduction reach. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take a foam roller, place it on the middle third of the rib cage, so not low, not under the armpit, right on the middle. You're gonna be looking straight ahead. You wanna think about really just getting heavy and melting into the foam roller, just like so. Legs will be stacked atop one another. Take your top hand, you're gonna be reaching towards the ceiling, silent in through the nose. On the exhale, just slowly reach your arm, 3 out of 10 effort. You don't wanna take up all the slack. It's like that. Hold the position, breathe in, exhale, go a little further. The whole time you're sagging more and more into the foam roller. For upper back or posterior thorax expansion, we're gonna use a seated posterior expansion drill. You're gonna need a mini band and a yoga block for this one. And what you wanna do is you wanna sit at a desk, put the mini band around your wrists. Your hands are gonna be either facing each other or like this. You'll get a little bit more stretch out of the movement with this, but if you can't get your wrists in that position, this works. The block is gonna go between the elbows, and you want the inner portion of your elbow contacting the block at about a 3 out of 10. You want your elbows lower than your shoulders like this. You don't wanna be high up here. From here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna look straight ahead, have your chest parallel to the wall, silently breathe in through the nose. On the exhale, you're gonna slowly move your torso backwards without slouching. You don't wanna force this. From here, I'm then gonna keep my inner elbows on the yoga block, spin my arms out. You'll feel your shoulder blade muscles working. Hold for 5 slow breaths. Silent in through the nose, soft exhale through the mouth. Don't force the air into your upper back. The drill that I use to promote anterior thorax expansion and lateral, you'll get a twofer, as we say in the Midwest, is simply grabbing a bar and hanging. And ideally, you'll want to be dangling like this. While doing the hang, you want to make sure you silently breathe in through the nose, you get a soft exhale through the mouth, and you really let your body just hang loose from the bar. On the subsequent inhales, you're going to feel some nice stretching and expansion throughout the chest and the sides of the ribs. And those would be the big reasons why I despise stand up straight with your shoulders back as a postural cue. It limits the normal sway that we have when standing, and it impacts your breathing. Now, you're probably wondering if there are some recommendations that I have for something like walking a proper way. For that, I would check out this video right here, where I go into some of the major keys that you need to think about when it comes to walking.